So we are back with more Everlasting Summer. Obviously, a lot happened in the last part that I put up with them. Him coming here with Alyssa, and they were looking for Shurik, but didn't exactly go the way that they were hoping. He tried to attack him out of him being scared himself, but look at his look though would make you look more creepy looking at him. You would think the other way around, right? I don't know. So we're gonna see what this is gonna do for these two in terms of relationship, because this part should be coming to an end, and then we'll be on to day 5, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So, but for now, they need to get out of this place, right? So let's see where it goes. The torch was burning poorly. We had to reignite it every other minute. One didn't have to be an oracle to predict an extremely short lifespan for that rag we were using. I became more and more afraid that we wouldn't leave the darkness in the mine. You couldn't rely too much on just the lighter. However, we reached a hole that led up to the catacombs quite fast. It seems that I memorized the route after all. We struggled to get up, scrabbled it over the rocks almost blindly. Okay, where are we going now? Asked Alyssa, getting her breath back. What do you mean? We're going to that room with the bunks and cabinets. Which way is that? I opened my mouth to reply, but suddenly realized that I had not the slightest idea. The hole looked the same from all sides, just like the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. We had not a single hint to indicate the right direction. Well, don't you know? Alyssa asked sadly and sat on the ground. No. I replied quietly, put out the torch to preserve it, and sat next to her. In the dark? I'm gonna die, eh? She rested her head upon my shoulder. I'd like to see a CG of this. Come on, please. Gabe, you gotta spoil things a little bit here. I would like to see that. Alyssa's voice sounded flat. One might even say calm, but I could feel that her body was trembling, either with cold or with fear, or with both combined. Don't be silly. Sure, things are getting worse, but they're still pretty far from we're gonna die. They will come and rescue us in the morning. Olga will call the police, so I would love to believe that myself. I see. Yeah. I lost track of time sitting there. I was afraid to go forward or backward. I was afraid to make a choice, as our torch definitely wouldn't last both ways. Wandering in total darkness without any source of light was definitely worse than waiting for the rescue here. This way, at least, we would have some light left for an emergency. Suddenly, a rumbling started echoing in the distance. Well, here is that emergency. That was definitely the clank of door bolts mixing in that rumbling. Get up. I harshly pulled Alyssa to her feet and lit the torch with shaking hands. What is it? She asked in dismay. I don't know, but it seems there is someone. We have to run. To be honest, I wasn't sure that it was such a good idea. What if the bad Shurik is there? And in fact, that's the least of all the evils I can imagine. But we had no choice left. The stone scattered beneath our feet. I desperately tried not to fall down, holding my hand with the torch out in front and dragging Alyssa with the other. She ran along in silence, breathing heavily. I really wanted to look back at her, but didn't have the strength or time. Finally, the outline of the open door appeared before us, and I leapt into the bomb shelter, readying myself to fight any foe that was there. But the room was empty. Looks familiar, doesn't it? I swept my eyes across the room, trying hard to spot hidden monsters, Shurik, or any other evil entity, but it was all exactly the same as it was the first time we'd been here. Except for the second door. It was open. Somebody has passed through here. I spoke up triumphantly. Who? Don't know. Maybe it was Shurik. I'm gonna doubt it wasn't. But how did it manage to open it? He managed. Who the hell cares? Come on. You're not even gonna question that, are you? You're just gonna go with it. It's like, well, maybe it was him. The way that he was back there, that guy doesn't have all his screws put back together in his head right now, right? The guy would be kind of all over the place, I'd imagine. There was another corridor behind that door, and it was ascending slowly. So we're getting closer to the surface. I was right. After several hundred feet, I stumbled upon a ladder leading to a small hatch on the ceiling. It didn't take much effort to open it. What's up there? Who cares? It's better to stay out here anyway. Huh. I climbed the ladder and found myself surrounded by gloom. Well, this room looked kind of familiar when we came in here with Slavia, so that's interesting. They got kind of what seemed like they kind of went the long way around. I'm not really sure, or either that it's like, yeah, it's what I kind of what it seems like. However, this gloom was definitely lighter than the darkness of the catacomb as my eyes got more used to it. The outlines of the walls, the ladder, and the door leading to the outside were emerging in the pale moonlight. I helped Alyssa to climb up, and we literally sprang out of the building. Okay. Yeah, now this is the familiar scene I was talking about. They came out the back way. It's like somehow they fell in there, but somehow managed to come out the way that we came in here with Slavia. That's interesting. The exit from the catacombs was located in some sort of ruined building that resembled either a nursery or a country school. It must be the old kind. Alyssa sat on one of the swings and wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. I see. So we found it after all. I smiled involuntarily. What are you laughing at? She frowned and pouted with displeasure. To put it shortly, she returned to her usual self. So it's not so scary here anymore. I wasn't scared there either. Yeah, you were. Now you just tried. You just were you just putting on a show back there? I don't know. You locked him back there. I'm not really sure what to believe. It's like this girl gave him away twice, or at least tried to. First one kind of failed. Second one, she pretty much ratted on him and said you gave him the carbon. Like, so if we stuck up for you a few times, would you actually have our back? My guess is this girl would be the opposite of doing that. How does that work? Oh, come on. That's right. I wasn't. Sure you were. Classic Cinderella line, isn't it? Whatever. I was angry. I really felt hurt because of Alyssa. If not for me, she would have still been down there in that damn mine. Where are you going? She asked in a less self-assured voice as I turned around and walked slowly towards the camp. Back to the camp. Hey! Alyssa jumped up right away and started to walk next to me. Look at that. Doesn't even take long, and this is the reaction she gets. What I'm talking about. Don't want to be honest with yourself kind of thing. Is that it? For a moment I wanted to say something nasty, but I wasn't ready to start the next argument. We found the path we had taken before surprisingly fast, even the two holes we'd fallen into. It was only about 200 meters from the old camp. Huh. I stopped at the square and turned to Alyssa. Well. Well. She looked uncertain, even confused. They probably can't even look at each other straight. Or she can't, I'm gonna guess. Then, sure. Deep inside, I wanted to yell at her, to scold her, even to insult her. On the other hand, I wanted to have a meaningful conversation. Okay? In the end, I just kept silent. Turned around and slowly headed towards the leader's cabin. But something persistently disturbed the quiet of the night. I keenly listened to it and realized that it was the snoring. What? Of Shurik, who was sleeping peacefully on a bench. Oh boy. Hey, can I see this person? I called Alyssa, who hadn't walked too far away. Get up, you. Shurik slowly came to his senses and stared at us blankly. How did you get out on your own? It's like, I don't know, back there. I can't get over that face I saw with you, man. That was something else. Like, I'm not really sure what to think of you now. It's like, the first time I saw this, yeah, this was the first time I saw this look. But, I don't know. In some ways, you can't really blame him for kind of freaking out. But she kind of slapped him, as I said. Probably was a no-no to do that. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just the way that scene played out. It's a little bit interesting. Oh, is it morning already? Morning, yeah. Sure. Sometimes one acts first, thinks later. Of course, it all starts in the brain. Then the current comes through the neural links, thereby transmitting the command to the body. But sometimes the subconsciousness just works faster than the consciousness. That's exactly why my fist swung and smacked Shurik in the guts. And it was only then that I realized what I'd done. My goodness. So first a slap, now you're punching. Oh boy. I mean, you said a smack. I don't know. He coughed, tried to catch his breath, and grinded on the bench. Good lord. What the hell was all that about? I already felt bad about it. I shouldn't have treated him so rough. This face, though. What are, what are you talking about? Shurik looked at me in shock. In the mine. What mine? Look at that. What do you mean, what mine? The mine you were in. This guy. He probably is so damn paranoid. He probably doesn't want to remember what he saw. He turned his head completely confused. And why am I here? Lord. And why are you here? Stop fooling around. Alyssa barged into the conversation. Boy, oh boy. You nearly killed me there. And now you're going to pretend like nothing happened. What happened? You really don't remember? Not a thing. With that kind of look, you expect me to believe that? You do. You're doing one of her type of lines, kind of just, I didn't see nothing. I don't know what happened down there. Sure you did. Okay, so what is the last thing you do remember? Sure, try to concentrate. Well, I was on my way to the old camp in the morning. I knew I could find some hardwire for the robot there, so, that's all. I don't recall anything since then. Then I just woke up there, here. I let out a heavy sigh as I turned away. Were you drinking? Oh, wait. Maybe he was. Maybe he had she mentioned about him drinking down there. But how much did you drink? Like, I would say it'd still be impossible for you to not recall something you saw. Like, I don't know. Maybe if you're so drunk off your ass, maybe you might not be able to see. But she slapped him, and it clearly knocked something into him to kind of do what he did back there. So I don't know. Well, go ahead. Sweet dreams. Hey, where are you? I ignored Alyssa and stumbled away to Olga's cabin. She stayed arguing with Shurik. Lord. I sat in the deck chair and looked up at the stars. This night they seemed to be brighter than usual. Perhaps they seemed so because not too long ago, my only source of light was a dim flashlight and that damn torch. The stars are brighter than a flashlight and obviously a torch. Most of the stars, I guess, are even brighter than the sun, but they're so far away. So, why have you come? I asked without even turning my head. Alyssa's footsteps could be heard well in advance in the silence of the night. Well, What did Shurik say? He said that he doesn't remember anything. It's unscientific and nonsense like that. I think he really doesn't remember because of shock and stress. Yeah, that's because he doesn't want to remember what he saw. It's more like, you see something, right? It's more like, did I actually see what I saw? And it kind of spooked you, right? But you figure you're probably just saying a bunch of things in your mind and you probably can't even process it, right? So when you're saying it to other people, they probably wouldn't know what you're saying anyway, because that'd be kind of how that would go, right? We all can kind of relate, right? You say things and then somebody doesn't believe what you're saying, kind of thing. It's like, have you had a little bit too much to drink back there, bud? I don't remember. What don't you remember? It's more like as a part of our brain, we like shut off, right? We don't really recall something because we don't really try to put too much thought into it. But it happens on occasion like that. Who am I to say? I was in the same boat not too long ago. I am still in it though. But you haven't really run into Eula yet either. You will in time. I'm curious if this guy actually will freak out when he sees her. Do I have amnesia? Well then, why did you come here? Then again, I guess I knew the answer. That's exactly why I hadn't gone to sleep, but waiting for her here. Well, Alyssa sat down next to me. Kind of wanted to thank you. After all, down there, no problem. I'm guessing she's struggling to try to get that line out. That's not usually what these type of characters are known for. They don't like to apologize, type of thing, right? But it came out, right? I said gently and leaned back. Well, alright then. She got up and was going to go. If you think that I'm angry with you, I'm not. Everything is okay. I didn't actually think that. Unless it got work though. Fine then. Okay. Yeah. Then, just go already. Said kindly and waved my hand. I'll go when I want to. My goodness. So now you don't want to. My goodness. I want to. Well, is something preventing you from going? Probably is, but she just doesn't know how to process that. Moron. Good lord. Knew it. Stamped her foot and quickly walked away from the leader's cabin. She just doesn't want to admit anything, does she? It's the way that goes. Took a deep breath and stood up. My head was terribly dizzy from fatigue. Well, at least Olga is sleeping already, and I won't have to explain anything. For now. However, it wasn't that easy. Oh boy. The camp leader was standing in the middle of the room and was obviously preparing for a lengthy conversation, or rather for a debriefing. Would you care to explain? What's the matter? In fact, you didn't mind when we were going to search for Shurik. And what? Have you found him? It looks like she was more concerned about me coming back late than the late fate of the lost pioneer. I'm sure she was. Yeah, we have. Ah, come on. Jeez. By the way, but why are you standing here in the darkness? What? I said, why in the darkness? Because it's time to sleep. I couldn't agree with her more, although I was slightly surprised by such an abrupt mood swing. Uh, well, I could recall we seen several of her mood swings, didn't we? Cause it's like she only got two types of buttons: get your ass in gear or give you the grumpy look, kind of thing. I don't know. I just barely stumbled to my bed and collapsed on it without undressing. But still, Alisa. Alisa, boy, oh boy. I just didn't know what I should think of her. I mean, in some ways, compared to Slavia, I can kind of understand why he would think that. But I kind of understand her, even though, like, they make you scratch your head of why they go about certain things. Like, come on, just admit that you like the guy, but you don't know why you do, kind of thing. It's just you're just not sure how to go about it. Maybe that's just it, you know. She's used to kind of what she's used to, you know. Slavia, it's more like, you know, it's like straightforward kind of thing, you know. But although at times he didn't really quite understand her either on certain occasions, but that's because he was more or less thinking like, why would she want to be around me, this attractive blonde kind of thing? That's more or less what he was questioning. That's actually kind of normal, you know. Most of us are kind of like that, right? You see a pretty girl, you would think they would be into you kind of thing. But here with Alyssa, it's more like, okay, you're around this person, you see that they have a certain type of attitude, but you see another side to them though that comes out once in a while, and you're kind of like curious of why they're like this on this extreme. But then when they, you know, least when you least expect it, they're kind of nice to you. So it's like, which one are you gonna be? You know, I don't know. It wasn't because she'd been acting strangely recently. No, on the contrary, all of her behavior was quite consistent and understandable. Not really. Even her returning to thank me. No, she's actually much the opposite of those things. That girl is not really that often to thank somebody. You know, I thought of Alyssa much more than anything else that happened tonight. Okay, although if you get down to it, there was nothing supernatural about it. Uncomfortable, sure. Frightening, even spine-chilling, sure. Something related to my arrival here, hardly. These thoughts put me to sleep. I think this would be going into day 5. Yeah, I almost said day 6. I was skipping ahead. Yep, day 5. By the time day 6 will come in, she should probably be on the screen. And then it'll be like that for day 7. That's funny. We ran. Ran with the last of our strength, okay? Like those who run for their previous lives. Like a doomed person knowing that there is no hope to save his life, will still fight the inevitable in his own fate. I barely managed to close the heavy metal door behind me. Oh yeah, this is the part where he was kind of having a dream, and the voice kind of talks to him here. But my guess is they don't even show her when he's down there. She gripped my hand tight. Don't be afraid. Bits of the ceiling were falling and the walls were shaking. I was prepared for the worst. But death is the kind of thing that you can't ever be prepared for. Suddenly, complete silence fell. It rang even louder than the explosions. Maybe it's time to say goodbye. She was whimpering. I wanted to comfort her somehow, but realized that there was nothing I could do. Yes, you know, I heard the bang almost hit my eardrums. It seems that I'm under a piece of collapsed ceiling, but I don't feel any pain. All I want is to not let her go. Guy has some interesting dreams, I gotta say. I barely ever dream. I've mentioned that before. It's like one of these parts that I did. Maybe it was doing when I was doing Slavia. It's like I know some people have had like different dreams. I don't know. For some reason, with me, like it rarely ever happens. And I've seen some movies that you would think that would make you have nightmares, right? Kind of thing. No, nothing ever like that that's ever happened. It's weird. Video games, anything, you name it. Doesn't matter what it was. I've seen it all. Like, at movies today, trust me, you could name me any horror movie you think that would scare me. It won't because I think they're all cheaply made, if I'm being honest. But you give me movies that were good. I'm talking about older horror movies. Yeah, even those didn't really do anything to me as a child, and I don't know. It's kind of weird like that. I woke up in a cold sweat, short of breath, and gasping for air. But I did mention one time, I don't know, maybe it was one part where I said there were a couple movies that did kind of disturb me as a kid, but never gave me nightmares kind of thing. The first Poltergeist, I want to say the original Exorcist movie, and the first Children of the Corn movie. Other than that, there's no movie that's ever really got to me on like that because I've seen every Jason movie you could think of, Friday the 13th, every Halloween, Michael Myers type thing, what is it? Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, I saw all that. That wasn't really those. I handled those movies like it was like it was nothing. So, but when it came to those, because the idea of like kids taking over, like some type of cult, right? And the idea they're in a cornfield, something about that was just, I don't know, it was just kind of creepy. But I don't know that those other movies though they didn't really do much for me. But yeah, other than that though, I saw the first Resident Evil. It did nothing for me. I just thought it was kind of cool seeing the first zombie in a video game. I thought it was just interesting. Other people kind of freaked out about it. I guess if you say it, because it was 1996 when the first one came around, but still, it didn't do nothing for me though. The first Silent Hill I found to be more creepy than the first Resident Evil game, which was kind of interesting. The first time you followed that trail where you find the girl's tracks, but then you end up somewhere else, right, kind of thing, and he keeps following it, right, and then until it gets to some back area. I can't remember how it all plays out. I'm talking about the first Silent Hill. And next thing you know, you get these little critters, right, that come up. You can't kill them, and then you try to get away from them, and then you just die, and then wake up in like I don't know, that cafe where you run into the cop lady or whatnot. I always thought that was interesting, but I'm rambling too much. It was a dream. It was just a dream. My questioning mind, however, refused to believe it. But who is that girl with me there? You will find out in time. I didn't want to let go of her head so desperately. Sadly, I couldn't recall her at all. The clocks was showing a few minutes past 10. I slowly came to my senses as reality started to stake out its claim on my mind. I need to do forward this because this has no bearing on things. So let me do that. I'm going to skip him too because he's just got to ask about Shurik. Abandoned camp. Nothing to it. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I just want to forward that. There was nobody near the washstands. I think this might be the part where I mentioned before where Alisa and Ayana get undressed at, where they somehow end up bathing. I can't know if it's this part or maybe it's coming up, but I guess we'll find out. So I'm gonna do that. Maybe I should go to the showers. I think this might be it. But since there is nobody here, I turned the tap in such a way so water streamed parallel to the ground and started to take off my clothes. Yeah, this is where. And what if somebody sees me? Not really sure what it prompted him to kind of do this here. It's kind of bizarre. And then they just kind of end up there as well. But you don't see nothing. You just get dialogue. Put on my clothes. The red switch seemed warm on my hands and face, felt bone chillingly cold on my body. The whole process, yeah, let's forward this a little bit. But I didn't manage to finish anyway. There were voices coming in from the direction of the footpath. The only solution came to me in a split second. I grabbed my clothes and dashed into the bushes. Yeah, there we go. A moment later, Alisa and Oyana appeared near the washstands. You could have done it by yourself. Why did you bring me here? Is it a big deal for you? Fine, let me. I peered at them and noticed that they were both covered in red paint. I like to know what they were doing. Like, they're just kind of horsing around kind of thing. That'd be, I don't know, these two in a wrestling match. I'd like to see how that would go. You never know. This little one here might actually beat the big one. I always say, never underestimate the small fry kind of thing, right? I wonder how they managed that. Who knows? Now let's open the valve and started to rub Yana's back. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Cheaping it out, man. Come on now. You can't at least do some type of CG where I could, like, I don't know, at least see something. Here I just gotta read the dialogue, Take off your bra. Good lord. What if somebody sees us? Well, is there anything to say? Good lord. That is just so funny, though. She grinned. Okay, just be quick. It was true that there wasn't much to look at, but even so, I stared at the girls narrowly. You're gonna be looking at that chest and the next time you get it a route, because he says this in the time when he did it with, who was it, Slavia, and he said that, he said this about her there, and what I said was, well, you're gonna be doing her, so you're gonna be staring at that chest. What's gonna happen? Are we gonna get the FBI, or is there gonna be some type of thing with that? It's like, wait a minute, you can't call anybody here. Why? He's not robbing the cradle. He's 17. He could do that, She's only 15, in this case. Still, like, it's not legal. It's legal, I mean, he's within range of her, so it's not like he could get in trouble, I don't know. But I see what they're trying to do with her, though. It's like, okay, give her the flat chest kind of thing. Yeah, they're trying to make it a little bit cringy. I see what they're trying to do with that, It was a pity that they were standing with their backs to me. A minute later, Alisa managed to wash off all the paint. I'm done. Thanks. You're welcome. Alisa replied lazily. Listen, let me try on yours. She pointed at Alisa's paw. It won't fit you, for sure. Well, I'd like to try anyway. But out here, there's nobody here, right? Eliana looked my way and smiled archly. Good lord. I was absolutely sure she couldn't see me in these bushes, but enough with this nonsense. Eliana wasn't listening to her anymore and grabbed Alisa's bra with a dexterous move instead. Good lord. Now I have to confess, I have something to look at. Oh boy. Yeah, but it's probably not going to end well for you, is it? I watched two girls chase one another around with the washstands with bated breath. This is what I'm talking about. I would like to have seen something. It's like, they could at least threw, like, something on. Maybe she goes to try to snatch it, like, kind of CG thing, right? But the bra is still on. So this way you could actually have the scene play out on screen. But in this case, since I'm probably playing the 17 and up version as opposed to the 18 and adult version, they probably just figure, you're kind of screwed. You're not gonna get to see what's going on here. Oh, that kind of sucks. Alyssa covered her breast with her hands so I could barely see anything at all. You saw something, but it doesn't matter. I leaned forward and stumbled over a stone falling out of the bushes. How do you do that? He probably got a little horny sitting in the bushes. Is that what happened? And he fell. What else were you doing back there is what I want to know. Alyssa and Yana stood frozen, staring at me. I tried to cover my nudity with my guilty face. Oh, jeez. The tableau lasted for a few seconds, then Alyssa took her shirt and somehow put it on in an instant. Good lord. Yo. Her face gone from red to purple. Yeah, it looked like she would explode in a nuclear blast any second. The only thing I wanted was to disintegrate into atoms and to get as far from the epicenter as possible. I mean, it's not like, I said before, it's not like they expected him to be there. But I also didn't think these two would come to this place and kind of do that. They both, I don't know, it's like coincident. All three of these two just kind of somehow ended up in this spot, and he gets caught. He was sitting there the whole time, so she noticed me then. Yo, and I accidentally, if you know what I mean. Yeah, look at that. Alyssa rushed at me, covering my butt with one hand, or goes with the other, ran in the woods. She probably stole his clothes, like again, except this time she actually did it. It seemed the best solution to me at the time, as showing up naked in the middle of the camp, accompanied by two screaming girls, wasn't a good idea. Probably not. But it was kind of your idea to kind of get undressed in the first place. She wouldn't have anything to grab if it were on your body, now would they? I ran without looking back. I stopped for minutes later on to catch my breath. Lord. It seemed that there was no pursuit, so I managed to save myself, but at the cost of lacerated, scratched, and bleeding feet, as I had no time to put on my boots. Boy, that would really suck going through all that. Probably stepped on a bunch of hard-ass, like, who knows what you stepped on. Yeah, it's not really a good idea. Sat on a tree stump inside. Sometime later, having dressed already, I left the forest. I needed to decide what to do next. My feet are hurting, so I should go straight to infirmary. But on the other hand, my stomach isn't going to wait either. Maybe I should accept. Come on, phone. Whoop. Accept electronics invitation. Or head to the canteen in the hope of finding something left to eat there. I don't think these choices are really going to matter, but let me do some checking on this because I don't think any of these are really going to apply to her. But sometimes if they do, because I at least want to go to one that if it is going to have to do with her, then I need to make sure on that. So I'll be right back in just a moment. Okay, so apparently none of these places really have anything to do with Alyssa, at least in the early part of the day. But there is a choice that will come later on when we get into the camp, when they're going the hiking thing or whatnot. But for now, I'm just going to select kitchen because it has nothing to do with any of them. But there is somebody here he's going to eventually bump into. It's kind of a familiar person that you guys all know. I always took care of my health, so I'm just going to forward this since I kind of already know. As in it here, where the pioneer seeks his happiness 3 times a day, and some even more often. Now, if I was pursuing Miku, obviously I would be saying yes to this person here, but I'm not going to do that right now. Canteen looked the way it always did, though. It was just completely empty except for Miku, who was cleaning the table. Seeing that, I quickly turned around and tried to sneakily escape, but didn't manage to make it. Hey, Semyon. Did you come here to eat? You missed breakfast, didn't you? I mean, I didn't see you. You could have been there, but I didn't see you. It's good that you came anyway. Hi. Well, yes, I just came. Wondered if there is anything left, maybe. There's nothing left. You need to wait for lunch. You won't help me. By the way, I'm cleaning up here. What for? What do you mean? She puffed up her lips and seemed offended. Somebody has to clean up. We do it in turns. You would have your turn as well. Thanks, but no. Okay, got it. I was gonna leave, but Miku still couldn't stop. So, will you help me? I will when your route is coming, but not this time. Okay, fine. Yeah, it looks like I've upset Miku. That's the way the cookie crumbles. The way the cookie crumbles. Will you be saying that when you end up on her route? Because you're gonna be eating that cookie, won't you? I'm just being funny with that one. I hope your cookies are delicious, by the way. I don't know. Leaving the canteen, I sat on the bench standing by the door and sighed tiredly. My feet were still hurting a bit, although not as bad as before, and there was still nothing in my stomach. I have no idea what the hell I just said back and previously, but I just kind of went for it. Alright, so let me just forward this a little bit, because it's kind of random. Sat on the bench and started to think. 4 days have passed, and I haven't gotten even an inch closer to working out how I got here. It's true that quite a few things happened during this time, but almost every one of them can be explained logically after careful thinking. Not really. Every single one of them could have happened in normal life. Maybe you mean a bus transporting you somehow to another place? Not really. Normal life. This term lost its original meaning to me here. Reactions to the environment, the actions and words of other people, or my own words. Indeed, none of this here is normal. In the past 4 days, my worldview had taken a series of painful punches to the stomach and uppercuts, which led to me being, if not knocked out, then seriously knocked out. Sometimes I don't understand why I act one way or the other or say some things. Actually, I do understand, but not straight away. Such afterthoughts, however, don't help me to act differently, more insanely, or inappropriate to the situation at all. Moments of truth happening to me are becoming more and more rare. If only my wish during first day was getting out of here, then now my main concerns are where to find food, how to avoid lineup in the morning, and what to say to Olga if Alyssa complains about me. And those things are truly important to me. Day after day, daily fuss like this overshadows the thoughts in my head about how the world around me, together with this camp and these girls, are completely abnormal. But I can't do anything about it myself. But because I just forget. In the same way we breathe without thinking about it, I am joining in the everyday life of the local inhabitants more and more without realizing it. I'm steadily becoming an average pioneer. No, this is wrong. Yeah, just talking like I mentioned before. That's getting a little bit random. The day has just started and I've gone through so many things already. But I did it, and now I have legitimate grounds to fill myself up. Today I wasn't the last one, so I could choose a free table. And I'm going to call a part here because at least we're making some progress into day 5. But I'm going to do some skipping a little bit on the next couple parts, at least to get to the when they start going towards their hiking and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So they obviously solved the Shurik problem, but his problem will only be solved once I get to Eula, but it's going to be a little while before that. So until then, he's going to continually question why he's in this camp. It's kind of the way it goes, you know. I do like how the game gives you little subtle hints that this character is around, though, even when he's not realizing that she's even there. Like, how they do it, though. Alright, so other than that, pretty much all I have for this one.